Wow, perfect timing.
What's
That
up,
was
guys?
bang on, guys.
What are you talking about?
How
Are
are we
we
doing?
recording already? Oh, okay.
We're recording.
Mate.
We do a cold intro. Actually, we're looking for a jingle. If you have any ideas, or Matt, do you want to do a jingle live?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I was thinking you could sing it. Oh,
Go on,
wow.
C
please.
major,
Please
come
do
on.
it for us.
Let's hear it. Can we even hear anything? I can't tell.
Yeah.
Someone sing something.
That's gonna be you, Matt.
No, it's not going to be
Terrible. Just terrible.
Well,
That's a great
Sunil.
jingle, though. I thought there was also like a WhatsApp notification in there. I think that should be part of the jingle
Reminds me of
because we're a very online podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Sunil, I'm so excited to talk to you because I feel like we've met kind of a little bit, like here or there, but never properly. And I want to hear your whole backstory, to be honest, because I feel like I've seen you on, like, I think over the years, like on Twitter, as this like somewhat mysterious but always very paternal figure.
Love that. Call me daddy. Yeah, sure.
Oh no.
Yes, uncle. Yes, uncle.
Can we start with so there's a German word in your Twitter bio. I've always admired that, but also not sure where it came from.
Onscheidungsproblem is the thing that gave rise to both the Turing model of computation as well as lambda calculus. Also, it just looks very cool to have a weird German word in your Twitter bio.
Yes.
So
Okay, interesting.
Sure,
Oh
okay.
wow, I didn't realize it was a computing thing, but that makes total sense.
it's something about, I think they talk about it in Gödel Escherbach, about whether given a statement, can you actually prove whether it's true or not? I honestly don't remember. Just so we are clear, I'm remembering something back from when I was like, oh, that's like a nice word. I'm absolutely going to steal it for my Twitter bio. That's the motivation here.
It's nice. That's awesome. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not smart enough to know what lambda calculus is.
It's functional programming nerds for the 6 people on the planet who care about that sort of thing.
That's funny.
That's where it comes from.
I want to get back to your backstory because, okay, so we figured out the Twitter bio word. And then did you come to London at some point to work on React?
Okay, so I'd just finished in India. I was working for an e-commerce company that we took from startup to acquisition. And that was horrible news for me because it means you're not really the underdog anymore. It's not really. So I got bored and I decided to take a couple of months off. So I just took, which ended up being like a whole year. I just got stoned and did open source. It was really
That's
good.
amazing.
I like traveled, did conferences and shit. I was
Incredible.
running out of money and I was actually applying for a job in Google and they told me, yeah, why don't you, would you like to be a DevRel for Google? I was like, okay, it's Google money. Why the fuck not? And Dan Abramov, a buddy of mine in Facebook, he messaged, he's like, well, if you're showing up in London, do you want to interview with Facebook as well? It's like, sure. Google rejected me, and which is why I took the Facebook offer. And apparently, I think it got at least one Google recruiter fired or they got like disciplined there because they were in the middle of a hiring war at the time. Oh. Yeah. But I joined and I actually didn't join React.
Wait, why did they get disciplined? Because they didn't hire you or because...
Yeah, exactly. Because then I announced, hey, I'm joining Facebook. And everyone's like, why is he not at Google? They were in the middle of like a hiring war at the time, especially in the front end space. That's just the rumor I heard. It was hilarious. Like even the feedback I got from the interview and stuff, I was like, I don't really care. It's fine.
That's some good lore too. Yeah.
I spent a year and a half in Oculus. I think that's the most sci-fi job of my life. I was basically writing React for VR. It was amazing. It was cool is what it was. I did a year and a half there. Then I got invited to join the React core team. I did very poorly on that team, but it's fine. I tell people I was on the React core team. It counts as a win. And then
that
I did
sounds like
stuff.
A hard team. Okay. So do you know why you were invited onto the React core team? I feel like you have this reputation of being like very prolific and working in public kind of figure.
Sure.
So like lots of like great feedback and like, I think if you've ever maintained anything on open source, the vast majority of the feedback you get is very disheartening and like not of any quality or whatever. So I imagine that when you come and, do something completely better and way different, that really gets noticed. Is that fair to say?
I did a bunch of open source stuff before that. I was doing a number of things in the React community. Okay, so you have to understand, 2015 to 2019 is basically the golden age of React. Completely new programming model, component model. It to like rethink everything from scratch. And I got lucky at the time just by involving myself, just doing a whole bunch of shit, speaking at conferences. And when I say golden age of React, it was back before DevRels and VCs had taken over conferences and meetups. I'm friends. Some of my best friends are DevRels, but fuck them. So it was a time of, I want to say, like invention. Like people made some real names by coming on stage and producing original work, things that fundamentally changed the industry. Like I remember when Vincent Raymer made React Native DOM. That was crazy. That was a blowing the roof off moment in Paris. Anyway, so I had like a couple of wins like that, and I was friends with the React team, etc., etc. Which is why after a year and a half, they were like, hey, do you want to just come onto the React team? They made a fundamental mistake because I had never actually contributed to the React.js code base, the actual code base. And I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's the weirdest code base ever. It's basically an implementation of like a virtual machine, kind of, and a rendering engine. It's so hard to get into. And that would have been fine, except doing it inside Facebook also means that you're victim to Facebook's performance cycle. Like every 6 months, they do like a PSC. You have to get people to say nice things about you and shit. And I was floundering for a year. I was just like, there were some things I did really well. Like I managed to actually ship a couple of versions of React, got things together, all of that. But actually committing core features was so hard. And I don't know if you can tell from, well, this might not be the case anymore, at least at the time. Every member of the React.js core team had a thing that they were attached to. So Brian was doing dev tools. Right. Dominic was doing the DOM part, funnily enough. Andrew and Sebastian were doing core stuff. Dan was a little bit over the place, but he also had like a bunch of things he was focused on. And I had some things I wanted to ship, but I never really and that combined with like the performance cycle, the fact that I was underleveled because I didn't check how much my pay should be. I was like, you know what, man, I want to go work for a bank and make some money. Like I was just kind of like done. And the timing was horrible. Bro, I quit Facebook in April 2020. Right before lockdowns kicked in. I think I got lucky that I found myself a job because it was a weird time. Worst thing about working for a bank during COVID, I mean, there were many things. I never went to a coked out Christmas party or anything. I got a free t-shirt and a notebook, bro. I was like, this sucks. Jesus.
How long were you at the bank for? And so you did end up joining the bank in April.
I did. I joined JP Morgan. I spent a year there and I got quickly quite bored. I'm never working for a non-tech company ever again. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to leave Cloudflare again, but like, so I did that for a year, and that's when Cloudflare announced the beta of durable objects. And little did I know that it's going to be about 4 years of obsession with that shit coming on. 4.5 years now. It's been nuts like that. Yeah, literally August 2020 is when the beta was announced, and that took over my life. I don't know if, well, you do follow me on Twitter. You can see that I can't shut the fuck up about it.
It's mad. It's not actually that long ago. Like,
yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not
but
like
yeah, that's my UK story. Like then I did Cloudflare for a year.
And that's before Cloudflare and PartyKit and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I did Cloudflare for a year. I rewrote their entire CLI. Things were going really well. So one day I woke up and quit my job. And everyone's like, why? What did we do wrong? I was like, no, bro. Like I'm going to do my startup for a bit. I did PartyKit for a year and a half. And I got acquired back by Cloudflare. And the first thing they told me, they're like, Sunil, this is a super complicated way to get a pay rise. I was like, yeah, but it worked.
There's a funny story also. I think I heard someone say somewhere, I'm not even sure if you were involved in this Twitter discussion or whatever, but someone was saying, so durable objects, they are so complicated that there is this guy who left Cloudflare to make durable objects way more understandable and accessible. And then he was acquired again by Cloudflare, and he's now working on durable objects again.
I've seen that tweet. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I thought that's also a hilarious part of hilarious bit of lore. I think Matt obviously is a huge durable objects fan. I understand them a lot more in theory than in practice. So I'm a huge Cloudflare fanboy.
We call you orange pilled, by the way. That's the phrase we use.
Okay, great. So I am very orange pilled. Although that feels like that could be that has some political undertones.
No, it's more that you could also be a fan of Pornhub. It's either Cloudflare or Pornhub.
Or Cheetos.
Or Cheetos, sure, yeah.
So how do I get DO pilled now if I'm already orange pilled? What's
So the usual thing that happens, at least in the UK, is you have a drink with me in a pub. That's, I can think of at least 10, 15 people. I think that's how it happened with Matt as well. I
No,
just sit
how
you
it
down
happened,
and
I
I'm
wanted
like,
to say how it happened with me. So I met you both at the same time, guys. We met at a dinner organized by Chris from Granola.
the granola thing. Yeah. That's right.
that was
Yeah,
fun.
we
That
met
was really
at
fun.
the
That's
same
where we were.
time. So I just think this is mad that I've spent a lot of time individually with each of you. And yeah, I am too very orange pilled. But
By
we've
the
never
way-
done this together.
Sunil, he had an insane aura at that dinner. I just remember it. You were like commanding things. I was like, whoa. This
I
guy.
wasn't trying. I wasn't really. It was just a good time. It was because I think I knew 3 or 4 people, but also I didn't. And it was just positioned so that I was like, also we had it in Bao and I kind of knew the menu. It's one of my favorite restaurants. So I was like,
That's awesome.
you should eat this. You should use durable objects. What's up, Matt? We should do a hackathon together. I don't know. Like there's just like multiple things going on at the same time. It was a good dinner. I remember
That's
that.
a good breakdown. That's a good breakdown.
It was nice. No, the durable object thing is, I don't know how familiar you are with things like actor model and stuff. Functional
Not-
programming nerds have known this for a while, especially the Erlang people will tell you they've had it for 30 years, right? Well, 40 something. Congrats to the 12 Erlang developers on the planet. It's the first implementation of that at like an infrastructural level. And I think the way I've started telling people is, what if you could have little programmable mini computers? Look, the whole thing is that everyone thinks about servers as a stateless model right now because everyone thinks about it in terms of Lambda, function that takes a request, returns a response. But the truth is, back in my day, you had to actually spin up like node servers and manage them. And you would literally write code that started a server inside the process and things like that. Now, imagine if you could do that, but very cheaply and at scale. Like you could spin up millions of them and all of them were addressable. And when I like the word addressable means you could give each of them a name. So what that means is, what if I could spin up an instance of a server for every email address on the planet, for every user on the planet, and everything happens in the context of that. This is unheard of for serverless programming because functions aren't addressable. There's no ID that you can give a function. You can't talk to the same function twice. Well, at least you can't guarantee, right? Like that it'll receive the 2 requests in a row. So you can't hold anything in local state. Like when I say local state, I mean literally like a let or a const.
Yep.
But you can do that with a durable object. It just spins up and you can connect to it. And because it sticks around, you can do stuff like WebSockets, and it has like scheduling and a whole bunch of other things fall out of this model. It's the simplest thing where instead of a function, you imagine it to be a class and you can assign it for different things. So it makes doing things like multiplayer like super easy. So PartyKit actually started because I was hanging around the TL Draw team, and I assume you're going to get Steve on this podcast at some point.
We had Lou on already.
Of course. Well,
Yeah, you're guest number 2 and Lou was guest number 1.
Amazing.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, shit.
They beat you to it.
Oh, fine. At least the order is fine. Right after I quit Cloudflare, I was hanging around Steve, and he wanted to replace his multiplayer provider, how they built shareable TL draws. And I was like, I know durable objects and it's going to be cheap as hell. So that's where we like actually proved out the idea. So every document in TLDraw that you share that gets an ID is one durable object instance. And the code is stupid, bro. Like it's a client sends a message, the server broadcasts that message to everyone else. It's a for loop, by the way. It's 2 lines of code to do that thing. It's a lot more complicated, but it's impossible to do this with any other infrastructure. You can just be like, yeah, sure. Like there's a durable object that you can connect WebSockets to and do these things. That's when I realized, okay, fine, there's clearly a business in this. Well, I knew that there was a startup in it. What I didn't realize was that there isn't actually a business in it, which is why I fooled Cloudflare into acquiring me back. That's my story.
Amazing. Okay, wait. So PartyKit started after the TL Draw exploration.
That's
right. And what was the kind of additional layer of simplicity, or I don't know, I remember it had great branding as well, right? Like that you could like pop balloons and like it said something like everything is better with friends or something like that, right?
Such a good line.
Such a good line.
I'm still very proud of that one. Yeah, the other thing I did was I still do. Cloudflare's DX could be 10x better, so I wanted to take a crack at that, especially around like stuff like durable objects. And I've been working on something to fix that inside Cloudflare right now. I can tell you about it later. But having to declare classes and bindings and migrations before you write a single line of code, it's garbage. It's terrible. So I fixed that with PartyKit. I built a whole new, which is to say, I built a developer CLI for Cloudflare, quit and built another one again. So yeah, I fixed all of that. And to this day, we never even shipped a dashboard for it. The CLI was good enough for everyone, which was also awesome. You could just build, ship. All we needed was a GitHub login, which you could do in the CLI. So my favorite thing was whenever I did customer calls, they'd be like, how much time should we put aside to build a prototype? And I was like, no, we can do it on the call right now. And they were like, what? I'm like, just share your screen. I won't even touch anything. You type it in. And within like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it would be done. And they'd be like, okay, so how are you going to provision servers to scale this? I was like, I don't care. This is Cloudflare's problem.
It's already done. Yeah, that's amazing.
So I think having that really quick, we can do it, like we can ship it like right now, like got a lot of people into PartyKit and not worrying about breaking the bank and stuff. It was kind of an amazing journey.
That's
really
awesome.
enjoyed it.
And then you said it couldn't become a business. Why?
So when you're building on top of something like Cloudflare, there are 2 or 3 directions you can go. The first one is you build effectively a rent-seeking business. You provide the same product but a little better, and you charge a fraction, some multiple more than this thing. Because Cloudflare is so cheap, it's not like you can charge that much more on top of it. So people loved it. There was a shit ton of traction, still is, by the way. I think we have over 10,000 projects deployed on PartyKit.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of insane. The other is that you build verticals. You're like, okay, fine, I'm going to build the best chat backend. I'm going to build the best this thing. I think that would have been a thing that I could have done. And the other is take it in a whole other direction, which is, of course, the AI thing. Like it was clearly like leaning in. And honestly, I don't think I had some other issues like with the startup. I don't think I had the energy after a while to figure out 40 things by myself while the entire nature of computing was like shifting underneath me. But for Cloudflare, it made sense because they'd been struggling to tell the story of durable objects for 3 years at the time. And they're like, do you want to come continue doing that here? Because I'm still extremely close to everyone in the company. I mean, the CEO was on my cap table. I had the most insane cap table. And I was talking to them so often. They knew my plans. They were like, you should just do this in Cloudflare. So for example, doing AI agents on durable objects was a plan that's about 2.5 years old. I mean, it's still on the website, even though I never implemented it at PartyKit. I built the agents SDK for Cloudflare, and it's built on PartyKit. It's built on the PartyKit source code. It's basically the same underlying thing. It was always the plan to do that. And earlier this year, we were like, let's pull the trigger on it. The timing is right. But I don't know, man. I just like I love building things, but having to figure out, I don't know, MRR and shit. I was just like, I don't know if I can do all of this by myself, man.
That's a whole nother thing. Okay, super interesting. Yeah, I feel like I have lots of questions about durable objects, but maybe some of them are explained by the like whole AI agents angle. So with durable objects now and the agents SDK, I assume there's a thing where like every durable object is an agent or something. I think Matt, maybe you've said this to me.
That's exactly right. Every agent is a durable object instance. They can talk to each other. Yep, you know what? That's it. Every durable object. My first version of the framework was literally export durable object as agent. It was a 1-line thing. And I said it as a joke. And then I just started adding some features around it to do some fun stuff. Sometime last year, internally, I think I started ringing the bell. Hey, AI agents are coming. We need to be prepped for it. And it's very hard to just say it to people who have full roadmaps and priorities. And they're like, cool, Sunil, good job. Thanks for letting us know. Like, oh shit. Which is why I started blogging a little about it. I started tweeting a whole bunch of things about it. So then 2 things happened. One is I was able to influence the company from the outside. People who follow me on Twitter and my blog, they're like, oh shit, Sunil kind of knows. And then in January, I think our customers started asking for it. They're like, okay, fine. We want to experiment with these AI agent frameworks. We want to do this. We want to do that. Do you have anything for us? And they were like, well, this guy has been talking about it for the last few months. Do you want to like talk to him? It was insane. Like, as Cloudflare has I don't want to say a lot of customers. Cloudflare has every customer. Okay. Like everybody uses Cloudflare. So then I'm dumped into meetings with, I think I spoke to at least 2 billionaires in the beginning. And I had to like get a fucking haircut to prep for that meeting. Of course, it turns out billionaires don't give a shit what you look like. And I was just like listening to them and I was like, yep, we can do this. This is actually going to be quite straightforward for us. And even Cloudflare people are like, really, Sunil? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like we have durable object. Let's chuck the problem at it. So a question that keeps coming up is, well, how are Cloudflare agents different from LangChain agents? How are they different from Crew AI agents? And it turns out that pretty much every AI agent framework / company on the planet, they build the library for defining the logic, right? They're like, oh, this is how you do multi-agent. This is how you do handoffs. This is how you do, I don't know, memory. We have memory providers, all of that shit. But the agents SDK is actually the execution container. It's what you should run your agent framework in. It's like, oh, we actually have a little class that you that will give you memory that you can use to build websites on top of, that has scheduling. You know how your agent framework says, can output something that says, run this every night at 9 p.m.? Well, conveniently, we have the API that you feed that into that will run your thing every night at like 9 p.m. So that's been the big bet around the agents SDK. Well, that was our bet and it turns out to have been the right bet. It's been going swimmingly well. The way I like telling people is, I've accidentally become important at work. Shit. Okay, man.
That's awesome. Head of agents at Cloudflare with us.
Sure.
That's what we'll put in the title, in the podcast title.
I was listening to Dax's podcast and they had Adam Wolf on.
Oh yeah, I listened to this as well.
He seems like he runs Claude Code Anthropic. And it seems like he's actually done a very similar journey from you. Like I was making parallels in my own head. I was like, he worked on React, he worked at Meta. And
Dude,
then
he was
he
head of
at
the
Anthropic.
React org in Facebook.
Yeah,
Like,
Matt, right?
Yeah. Adam was the head, yeah.
Yeah, proper. And then he went over to Anthropic and he was explaining the reasoning about why he went to Anthropic. And I was like, he's just ridden both those two trains. Like he rode like web and mobile, and then now he's riding AI and it's sick. And I was like, shit, man, Sunil's done the same thing.
I think
so
he's
cool.
made a lot more in equity than I have, but yes, otherwise we are exactly the same person. Yes,
Exactly the same.
I'm keen to get my level of durable objects one level deeper, if you'll indulge me. So, like,
Sure.
what are the things Cloudflare agents couldn't do without durable objects? So I get that, like, they can hold state, I guess, for as long as you want. But, like, practically speaking.
Okay, let's think of a feature, okay? Let's say you wanted to do this with plain serverless programming. You want to build a chatbot. You literally want to type into the chatbot, tell me a long story. Okay, and your implementation is, or you use AI SDK or whatever it is, and you make a fetch to the LLM and you start streaming it back. Let's say it's in the middle of streaming that and you close your tab. What happened? Well, the stream dies. You go back to it and it's not there anymore. And you're like, well, shit, now I need to somehow keep streaming that even though the connection dies away. Okay, so that's one problem, quite hard to do with serverless programming. I need some kind of state. I need a database to store this in. So now you have to pump it into Postgres. You want to make sure that multiple clients are seeing the same thing. So if I open up 2 tabs next to each other, or I have my phone on the same thing, you need to make sure that they're streaming the same thing. So now these things are connected like to your database, but now there could be like race conditions. What happens if one person types, the other person types? How do you make sure that the ordering of messages are the same? Let's say that you want to build functionality for that agent to wake up and do something at 9 p.m. Okay, fine. Now you need to build a whole background job processing thing. How do you make it so that some users who use the thing very heavily don't, it's called the noisy neighbor problem. Like what happens if you have like 6,000 users and they're ruining the experience for other people? So first of all, what you thought would be a simple, straightforward, let's build this over a weekend, suddenly becomes a 2,000 story point, multi-week, potentially multi-million-dollar investment, right? Because now you need to provision this, you need to figure out how to do real-time, right? Screw you if you want to do like WebSockets, you're like in another whole hell itself. You're not even using serverless programming. And this is just like for AI chat apps. There are like multiple versions of this problem. There's real-time multiplayer, there's collaboration, there are game sessions.
Yep, totally.
So now in this world, suddenly if you could guarantee, like for every session, you want to spin up one thing that every client that connects to will connect to the same process, the same V8 isolate that we spin up. Remember I was telling you about like broadcasting being a for loop? Like that's an insanely hard distributed systems problem without the active model. You have to like coordinate it because you don't even have one database instance. You're using sharding to make sure you don't die over the load. Look, the reason that the entire internet right now is a pull-based architecture instead of push-based is because we couldn't figure out how to scale WebSockets like well. And it's why you invent GraphQL. It's why you invent REST and HTTP. I'm like, screw that, man. Connect with a WebSocket, start sending messages, the things you have.
I feel like a lot of people who are into durable objects, like at least there's quite a large overlap with people who are into like local first programming. But would you say that? Like maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the pros and cons, because when you're talking about the chat application, I mean, I see the Zero guy on Twitter as well, just saying basically Zero is the thing that you should be using for this use case. That's all you need.
So for local first, it makes sense. So the Zero story is interesting because they built Replicache first, which was a syncing solution. And then they built a hosted service on top of it called Reflect, which was powered by durable objects. So they have done that journey. And now this version doesn't run on durable objects yet. It probably will at some point. But it's more concerned about just the data story, the Postgres data story. So for example, you still can't do something like shared cursors on a page with Zero. It's not recommended. Aaron specifically says, don't use Zero to do shared cursors. And a lot of these syncing solutions actually act at the level of the database itself. So Electric Sync works on the database level, like Postgres, I think. Something like a LiveBlocks powered by durable objects. They don't solve a problem at the compute layer. They're more like at a data layer itself. Durable objects are honestly, somebody builds a great sync solution on top of durable objects directly, I bet it'll just happen. And I'm hoping that solution is LiveStore. So LiveStore is a local first thing made by Johannes Schickling. He's the ex-founder of Prisma.
Oh, yeah. And GraphQL and all of this stuff,
exactly.
Right? Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I love him and Soren. Soren was actually on my cap table as well. So
this is okay. So can I hit you with like a completely different perspective? Because I come like from the Python Django world. And one of the things that's been super popular in like the past few years is this thing called HTMX.
Yeah.
Have you come across?
Yeah.
And I think like this is like kind of going like the other way, right? It's like leaning more into the pull-based model. And I have to say, like, I also really like it because it's just like simpler in a way, right? So, I mean, I guess I'll give a quick one-liner description for anyone who might not be familiar, but like, I guess HTMX is a way where like, as like a backend heavy developer, like a Django Python developer, you don't have React on your front end. You have this like tiny little JavaScript library and you essentially annotate your like HTML with like, oh, when this button is clicked, fetch this thing. So it's kind of like a much improved, more deterministic jQuery or whatever, but you can like...
It's probably closer to like a Meteor, but I can definitely see the influence of... there's that Elixir framework, like Phoenix type. Those are also like quite similar. It's like Meteor. Yeah, basically you do these annotations on HTML elements directly and it assumes a bunch of things.
And then the HTML you return from the server on the back, like that can have further like annotation. And so you can kind of like keep chaining it and keep going. And you just write backend code essentially. And it's like, I think this is even aside from HTMX, like I think my biggest love for the pull-based model is that there's an incredible simplicity that comes from like statelessness, right? And it's much easier to debug. You're never like, oh, there's this alive thing. Let me try and like, I don't know, shell into it or like hook into it and then see like what the variables are or whatever. It's a lot. And simplicity is like a real nice thing to have in like a complex system. Yeah, what do you think?
Fun fact, somewhere on my laptop, I actually have HTMX running on a durable object and it's awesome. And the way that I do real time for it, the thing that like, you know what? I should actually put it together. What I really like is I've set it up so that anytime, the way that I do multiplayer with HTMX is anytime there are any changes, I just send a ping to all connected clients to do a fresh pull. So that like gets me close enough to like streaming real-time stuff with HTMX. I would blow some minds if I tweeted out that repository someday where I'm like, you'd think that I'd be against HTMX since I'm like a React fanboy and stuff. And I'm like, no, You've never seen HTMX the way it's.
The
Thanks for
way you
reminding
use
me. It's
it.
been a few months since I've touched that. I should actually just get it running.
Okay, but you find the kind of push model and the like aliveness and liveness that it can deliver like superior to the pull model, even though it, would you agree it's less simple, the push model?
The thing that solves the push model are sync engines. That's the thing that
Okay.
happens. Because the moment you have a sync engine, all the code that you write on the front end is effectively, well, it's actually synchronous to like a data store that runs on your client. It's like working with a database in your browser.
Uh-huh.
And which makes stuff like testing like so easy, right? Like, yeah, just put a bunch of data in the browser DB and like run tests on it, etc. The entire synchronization layer is its own thing that's tested by VC funded startups right now. And either you're interfacing with another database on the backend directly, or you're talking to API endpoints and you're just writing down logic where this means call this API call. And again, that becomes like incredibly straightforward. Sync engines, I think, are what solve this complexity. For the last couple of years, I've been hoping that sync engines make it big, like really go mainstream. And I think it'll still happen within a year or two. The other thing is, in a world of streaming data and highly interactive AI agent, what have you, pull-based models just fall apart. If you don't have a push-based model, you're always looking at stale data.
Right, unless the agent can be so autonomous that like whenever it's done, it like, I don't know, updates
That's what it does.
something or whatever.
You're basically halfway there to a push-based model. It has to ping your client and say,
yeah,
get some fresh data. That's the thing. Like the moment you like you said, like autonomous little processes running in the background, you kind of need a real-time view into everything that's happening.
Yeah, okay, that's a good pitch. I want to ask you about AI stuff actually. Besides what you're building, also like how you're using the stuff at the moment, and like maybe we can start with like where are you on like the hype scale at the moment? Are you this stuff still doesn't work for me too often? Are you like it could work really well for me if I spent even more time, like, I don't know, learning how to be a great context engineer, I guess we call it now? Or you know, like AGI is going to take us all in the next 12 months. We're not going to be writing any more code. We'll just be writing English to agents. I'm curious where you fall on like all these different like hype specs.
Well, for writing code, I think upwards of 90% of my code is like Cursor now. And now they have like background agents and all, and it's a shit ton of fun. It took me a while to figure out how to be effective. And by the way, this is extremely annoying to me that it turns out making a todo.md file makes it like 10x better. I'm so annoyed that it works so well, by the way. You're like, you think it's going to take like a much better model or like much better tools. Nope, todo.md. For context, I actually wrote a whole blog post about how I think AI agents need task tracking software. It's on my blog. But it turns out the simplest form of that, which is todo.md, is like the thing that works. You get the LLM to write the todo.md file, by the way, as well, which is just the most hilarious thing.
Yeah.
You do that, and then you tell the agent, hey, close your eyes a little bit and look at all the assets I've made you. I've made you little fixtures and a to-do. And Cursor's like, thank you. This is so helpful. I will now do the rest of the job. You're so nice, dude. I'm like, cool. Like, happy to take credit for it. No, I think coding,
that's awesome.
Like, I think building front ends is, I think building 80 to 85% of the world's front ends is kind of a solved problem. It's another thing that it's going to take enterprise orgs a while to like use it, but they're already doing it, bro. Like, I think doing UIs, it's so over.
The design, Sunil, the design, like how people interact with it, surely that's still going to be someone just like making things look pretty. Like Figma's not dead anytime soon.
Bro, go work in JP Morgan for a year. By the way, every time I hear
they don't have design.
People care about the craft and design. I'm like, you haven't worked in a bank. You just no. I don't know if you edit this post for profanity, but nobody gives a flying fuck, dude. Like for 80 to 90% of the UIs that are, that's just it. Of course, I care. And the things I want to build have to be like really good. And those are the things that I'll do really well. But rank and file, meat and potato software that's being built across the world, they don't care, dude. They're being built by like 9 to 5 engineers who like just want to go home. They have a component system, so you can chuck that into context. It spits out a form, and you're like,
I hear a lot about like 9 to 5 engineers. Like people don't care. Like I don't know. Everyone thinks their software is the software that's not going to be taken by AI as well. Like, no, my thing's special, I promise. Like, my thing is the only thing that we can't do with AI. And then everyone else is like, no, my thing is the only thing we can't do with AI. And I don't know. I've heard a lot of this recently. I was advocating for your thing, but then as soon as you started advocating for your thing, I was like, no, your thing is going to get taken by AI as well.
So I think coding is, dude, and this is a thing I've gradually been changing my mind about for the last 6 months, right? Like I was taught how to use cursor by a 19-year-old intern in Cloudflare. That intern, by the way, is Dravya Shah, who made
Yeah.
He got on a call with me. He wanted, by the way, that's just it. The kids still don't know how to debug this software. They reach out to senior engineers who are like, can you please help me? I have no idea. And then dude, they use it for the smallest things, dude. They're like, can you like rename this variable? I'm like, you're like burning down a tiny patch of forest to do that, but okay. But the way he showed it, I was like, okay, fine. This is clearly like the way things are going to go. And these kids are like born in it, dude. Like they haven't even, they weren't alive for the Matrix. Do you understand how offensive it is that they're the ones who get to live this mad futuristic life? And they're like, yeah, I haven't watched that boomer movie. I'm like, the Matrix? Like, no, but the other one I think is, but that's like for coding and tech. I think it's going to take years for normie professions to be like taken over. It's insane how hard it is, how bad it is. And not just because like they're unaware of the tech. By the way, you'll see this. Like in India, ChatGPT is huge in India. I didn't know how big it was until I like went there this time. Everyone's using like ChatGPT. But you talk about using it at work for doing customer service agents. Some people are very excited about it. Other people are like, no, it'll never work. And customer service, like voice agents, are both. Have either of you been to the Ivy in the UK? You must have. One of you must have been to the Ivy.
Yeah.
Okay. So try making a phone call to them. They've switched fully to LLM voice agents and it's amazing. It's
No way.
It's the best phone. Don't get me wrong. I've spent hours and hours talking to goddamn HMRC and all, and I hate those things. The Ivy. They have like context specific stuff. Like it identifies itself as an AI, and then it's like, hey, we have a private party at 5, so we can't take reservations after that. This particular one, we don't allow pets, sir. We are very sorry. I'm like, what? Are you sure? Like it was.
That's incredible. I think, Matt, you should call them. Make a reservation.
Yeah, definitely.
You should try to make a reservation with the Ivy. But that, I think, is just one out of 10,000 things that haven't been taken over. It's going to be really hard. Like years. That's the other thing. The other one is, bro, you know how Zuck poached a whole bunch of researchers from OpenAI just lately?
Yeah, we talked about it on the last episode. It's kind of nuts.
Do you think they would have left if GPT-5 was around the corner? Or if it was as good as people think it might be?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to turn down $100 million. Right?
No, but it's
okay, so
definitely not $100 million.
It's basically last chopper out of Nam, because that's not just fuck you money, right? That's private island money. That's just nuclear bunker money. Like, do you think that's why they did it? I don't believe they got 100 million. I think only like Nat Friedman or someone got it. But like, so I see.
Yeah, it's a good question.
I see people in the valley being skeptical of when the AGI moment is happening. I want to say about 3 months ago, I thought it's happening in the next 12 to 24 months. But now it's feeling like it might be longer.
There's this big interview recently where I think Sam Altman and Brad Lightcap were talking that there's going to be a soft takeoff. There's no longer a belief that there's going to be a hard takeoff. So it seems like they're reducing expectations a little bit.
I feel like I'm one of very few people who are this way. Okay, so Sam Altman, clearly a little bit of a psychopath. Okay, like he's not normal. Okay, he's not normal. His name is Altman. Okay, I feel bad for him, bro. I kind of want him to win. Like he's one of the most hated people. He has clearly accelerated the timeline. Kind of want him to win. I don't know. Like he's a fucking freak, but like I'm a bit of a fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find it hard to even justify my stance here. Like, I'm like, look, my wife is doing a PhD in creative writing. This dude is out to destroy her job, her career, that entire field of people. I kind of want him to win just a little bit.
That's amazing. You mentioning the whole like using AI to rename a variable made me remember something I really wanted to ask you last week, Matt. But I think we can talk about it together now, which is there was this post on Hacker News maybe last week, that was about like inputs versus outputs. And like basically if your workflow with AI is like, give it the prompt, the AI agent like Cursor, Claude Code, writes the code. And then do you like end up fixing the AI's code? Like, and making little tweaks, like making it so that it passes your style check? Or do you just go back to rewrite the prompt, add more to the rules files until like you no longer have to like make little tweaks? Like the author of the post was saying you should always be fixing the inputs and not fixing the outputs. And I'm definitely not there yet. Like I'm fixing the outputs, but curious where you guys are at, or if you even agree with this.
Yeah, that's what Adam said on Dax's podcast. He was like, yeah, you should never interrupt the model because in training, the model is never interrupted. So if you interrupt the model, it starts freaking out. And so you should always let it go to its logical conclusion.
He also said he fixes the outputs though, right? Like he does tweaks at the end. Right.
I think that's what he said. His main thing was just don't interrupt the model. But I saw this amazing blog post by one of the guys at SourceGraph, I think Jeffrey, I don't know. And he was talking about like LLMs are a mirror of the operator's skill. I think that's the title of the blog post. It's like if you have an intuitive grasp of how something works, the model is super good. And as soon as you don't, then life gets really, really tough.
Yeah, I think that actually tracks. The models are so bad at knowing how to handle durable objects right now, which is why I have to like write a bunch of code for it. Which is fine because it just spat out 3,000 lines of UI code for me. So I'm like, okay, fine, I have time. I have time to like. Can I tell you the thing that I've been obsessing about lately? Do you know what the Cloudflare sandbox is?
Yeah, we talked about this.
So Cloudflare just announced its containers product, and it's not meant to be a competitor to Workers. It's actually meant to be a capability. You use it to do long-running weird stuff for which you need an OS file system. So if you want to run FFmpeg in the background for things, if you want to run coding agents where you can check out from Git and run literally Claude code or open code or whatever it is, we built a product on top of it called Sandbox, which is trying to optimize for that 80-90% use case of LLM coding stuff. That's one. Second is Workers you can't do eval in Workers for a number of security reasons. But we just landed it last week, by the way. It'll be in Wrangler this week. It's called dynamic isolate loading, where you can create an entire worker with strings inside a worker and eval it. It becomes a full-fledged worker with bindings. You can do a whole bunch of fun things.
It's like Workers for platform, or it's just like that, but a lot less complicated.
It's less complicated. There's no deploy step. It's literally I think it's not .execute, but I've started calling it eval. It's basically eval.
Oh, okay? I see. It's like a first-party eval that actually works. Okay, interesting.
Infrastructure layer eval.
And by eval, you mean the like JavaScript eval, not like
yes.
AI eval. Yeah. Okay.
I'm calling it eval. It's not exactly eval, but it's actually a little more powerful. Here's a scenario. Like if all humans were perfect robots, your website would look literally like a database. You would let them come in and execute queries, SQL queries, to see your entire inventory of all the products you have. Run a SQL query to insert something in their cart. Run another SQL query against Stripe. If all your users were robots. But unfortunately, we are smelly little human beings who poop and fart and have racist opinions. I don't know. So you want to protect these users. You don't just want to protect yourself from these users, but you want to protect them from themselves, which is why you make user interfaces, right? Which is like, oh, let's have a homepage and a search page and a details page, cart, checkout, what have you, which is the entire other extreme of giving them access to the entire database. And then you have a team that builds features, etc. But you have to kind of build the same UI for everyone. There's a new middle ground that is going to become real now that we have stuff like Cloudflare Sandbox, Vercel Sandbox, Daytona, North Flank, I don't know, your shitty Kubernetes cluster, whatever it is, where on demand, you will be able to generate not just UI. And that's kind of been the dream. Oh, what if it contextual UI on a per user basis? You will be able to generate the entire application based on like human desire. And you could save it for later. Maybe you want to save or you could throw it away. It could be ephemeral. But I think whether or not models get better, right now models are good enough to do this. So you're going to start seeing this crazy UX exploration of absolutely brand new styles of human computer interfaces. The moment I started thinking about this a few weeks ago, I've lost it. I have like 3 attempts I've started on my laptop. And every single time I'm looking at it, I'm like, I am so deeply unqualified to do this work. The fun thing is that everyone in AI is so incompetent right now. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
My biggest problem with AI founders is no one reads like science fiction. There are no Star Trek fans in the space at a time when we can finally start building these weird things.
I have some tweets from like there would have been like 2.5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. I'll find them for you, but they are literally like GPT-4 is amazing. Why can't I have my own UI? And at that moment, I was like, I need to try this. And then I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like literally zero idea. Didn't do anything. But it's
But
cool to
now
see if
you
that
have-
might actually happen.
I'm saying you
Yeah.
now have a space where you can just in time generate code, backends, UIs, and the Cloudflare model, like I said, right? Like it's one agent for every human being. There's going to be one sandbox for every human being, one UI for every human being. It's going to be this weird planetary computer that I need a joint. Fuck, it's been years since I've smoked weed, but I really want to have a joint and be like, just sit back at the Jasmine Dean and be like, ah, bro, like it's going to be crazy.
About generative UI. Okay, so what is the stuff that you're building with this like human desire, dream up the UI kind of thing? I think I totally get the vision for it, but I also feel like I don't know if I actually believe it. I don't know.
Well, I think until people try, we're not going to know. I think about it in terms of, look, there are like smaller patterns, I think, contextual UIs, etc. But I think the big unifying thing is going to be apps that build themselves. I think someone is literally going to build a JavaScript framework for which this is like first class.
There's a notes guy. There's a guy
Right.
building a notes app on Twitter at the moment where he's like, I want to have the ability to make it bold. And then he goes to the new note and there is like a bold button. And he's like building it. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think apps that build themselves are, you heard it here first. I think this is the first time I'm talking about it publicly, but this is starting to consume my life.
There's for sure like a correct abstraction for the stuff that you want to be generated. I don't know if it's like make the text bold. I don't know if you want like all your end users like writing that feature or like vibe prompting that feature, but like for sure there's like a good abstraction.
Does it change from React to like a different mindset? Like, is there gonna be a new framework like that's like Impact instead of React, you know? It's like doing something instead of
Again, take
having
it from the
something
React
done to it.
fanboy. I think that's such a small slice of like the problem. There's nothing specific about React here. I think that either holds it back or enables it. Sure, it's in the training data, but I feel that's highly it's overrated to say. Dude, if you're saying that what's in the training data is what matters, then we're calling it quits on humanity. We're done. We're stuck culture. I
That's so
refuse to
true.
believe that.
Sorry, I have to run actually. I'm just seeing I have a hard stop. So no, it's been great. Thanks so much.
Actually, I do
and-
need to pop off myself. It's been wonderful speaking to you people. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Thanks a lot. I will meet you in the pub when I'm in London. I should be there in 2 or 3 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna
All
stop.
right. Much love. Talk soon.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.